What's up guys and welcome back to On The Brick, where today I have a really interesting question that I want to answer. But first, I need 30 seconds to explain where this is coming from. If you've been around for any length of time, then you already know this, but if you're new, then you should know that I look at custom LEGO across the board. This is primarily focused around custom builds, like from Brick Vault and whatnot, but every Sunday I also show off custom minifigures from various different creators. And this led to someone on my Discord asking a very interesting question. This user, who I am only not including because I don't know what the reaction to this will be, asked, "What's the line between customs and knockoffs? Are CAC helmets or any custom piece from other sellers different from lepin, KOPF, WM's custom pieces?" And honestly, this is a fantastic question that I cannot believe I never really thought about before. So let's start answering this question by looking at what exactly makes something a custom minifigure. And then we're going to compare that to the knockoff versions, and I think you might come to the same conclusion as I did when all is said and done. Now, when I think of custom minifigures, there are several things that come to mind, and the first is always the cost. And while there are definitely other things that may come to mind first for you, the reason that I'm putting this first is because it is easily the most important factor. When you take creator, design, or anything else into account, none of that really matters if at the end of the day, it's too expensive for you to even consider. For instance, your average Clone Army Customs minifigure will cost you about $30 and likely more than that. And there are some cheaper places like the Minifig Co., but they either don't come with weapons or helmets, whereas Clone Army Customs comes with the complete package, and so that's why I'm choosing them as the baseline. Also, there are definitely places which are way more expensive, like Big Kid Bricks or Tuminio. So I think it's safe to say that on average, your custom LEGO minifigure will cost you around $30. But on average, a quote-unquote knockoff minifigure will cost you $1. And that is pretty simple math to do. It means you can get 30 knockoff minifigures for the price of one official custom. And I know what some of you are thinking, and don't worry, we are going to get to that. But the second thing that comes to mind for me when I think about what exactly defines a custom minifigure is availability. Is it something that LEGO themselves have made? And this is where a really big distinction needs to be made. And that is, what exactly is a knockoff? It's a little hard to compare custom minifigures to them if we're not really defining one of them. So I really should clarify at this point that the term knockoff is not the correct one at all. Non-LEGO companies, especially like Lepin, absolutely made one-for-one recreations of official LEGO minifigures. Those are knockoffs. Well, I still don't really like the term, but they're knockoffs. However, if you go and look at what figures are available, you are going to see a wide variety that LEGO just has never even made before. And I'm not just talking Star Wars. I tend to use Star Wars because it's what we look at on this channel most of the time, but there are so many minifigures out there from Marvel, DC, movies, from anime, from everything that I just don't even know anymore, and LEGO has just never made them at all. And the existence of those is why this question has been so fascinating to me. And those minifigures are the ones that cost $1 still. However, in official customs, the availability of non-LEGO made figures is also equally important. Yes, places like Clone Army Customs do make figures that LEGO never has, but they're usually way more detailed and whatnot than LEGO ever has. But they also make a good variety that LEGO just never has made either. Again, Big Kid Bricks has made a ton of Jedi and Sith that have just never found their way into a LEGO set. You can't buy an official Phase 2 Cody off of Bricklink or anything, but you can definitely get a custom one, for instance. But here's the thing about this. the non-LEGO minifigures have a much greater variety in what you can get compared to official LEGO customs. Yeah, plenty of places do sell non-Star Wars things, they sell things from movies and whatnot, even BKB has a huge variety, but it's still nothing in comparison to the sheer amount of minifigures you can get from non-LEGO. Now, those are fine and all, but there was one factor that really redefined this question for me and helped me realize that there is a difference between a knockoff minifigure and a non-LEGO minifigure. Because the third key factor to me for what constitutes a custom minifigure is the use of custom molds. Now, I should say this is absolutely not a requirement by any means. Plenty of custom makers never use their own molds or anything. For instance, Engineerio only ever uses official LEGO pieces and nothing else. But even Clone Army Customs, Big Kid Bricks, and especially places like Tuminio absolutely make their own custom parts to use on their figures and really make them stand out and be unique. Even places that don't do custom prints and do decals use custom parts like AV Figures. And for a long time, it would be really easy to say that knockoff LEGO only ever copied what real LEGO did. But that is simply not true anymore. They absolutely use their own custom molds now that not even LEGO uses. And again, I'm going to be using Star Wars here, but like molds for their clone troopers include shoulder pads and backpacks that LEGO doesn't ever do and custom people don't do. And of course, it's not just Star Wars. For instance, here's whatever this is. I'm sorry, I really don't know, but you can buy this for only $1. And so at this point, I have to ask you, are knockoffs just custom minifigures? Because I think it's kind of fair to say they are. I mean, think about it. This is a minifigure that is not something LEGO produces. It has a custom design on it. It's not a design that LEGO has. It has custom parts on it. It's also pretty cheap, and there's a really good variety of this. What exactly is the difference between this and something that a custom maker would make? I can only really think of one point that I'm about to get to in a second, but outside of that, there really isn't a difference between the two. Except, maybe, the quality of the prints themselves. And honestly, for most things non-LEGO, it's pretty fine. When it comes to official LEGO prints, there is none better than Clone Army Customs. They are pretty perfect about 99.99% of the time. And they do 360-degree prints, something which LEGO themselves don't really ever do. Big Kid Bricks primarily focuses on 180-degree prints, meaning that there's nothing on the sides, and other designers like Fig Fab Labs, which try 360-degree prints, are pretty terrible about it, and I would just stay away from them. And when it comes to non-LEGO minifigures, you can easily get both. For instance, this clone trooper is only 180-degree printed, so it'll probably fit in better with your official LEGO figures. But I also know for a fact that these Bad Batch minifigures are in fact 360-degree printed. The one problem that non-LEGO printing tends to have is honestly with the helmets. Their clone trooper helmets can be pretty hit or miss, and their Mandalorian helmets just aren't really that good. And that is a pretty big downside to them. But at the same time, if you're only spending $1 or $1.20 on the minifigure, you can then go to a place like Clone Army Customs and get just the helmet for $4. Now you've spent $5 total, still way less than the $30 you would have otherwise. And I'm not saying any of this to advocate away from official custom minifigures. I have several hundred in the other room that I absolutely love and way more that I want to buy. I will always happily promote places that are worth being promoted. Clone Army Customs is top notch, Big Kid Bricks is pretty good, Tuminio is awesome, there are plenty of places absolutely worth spending the money. But I also think it's time we start considering some of these non-LEGO minifigures to be more along the lines of customs. If they're not officially made by LEGO and they use their own designs and they have their own custom parts, why not? at the end of the day, it's a piece of plastic probably sitting on a shelf. And if you're looking for something for kids to play with, you're probably gonna want to go the cheaper option anyway. Like, if I was buying minifigures for my kid, which I don't have, I would definitely go the $1 option, knowing that it's probably gonna get destroyed. Now, again, I do think that the actual knockoffs, the one-for-one knockoffs, that's a different story entirely. They have their own place, and maybe one day I'll make a video about that, but I'm talking very specifically about the ones that are not based off of official LEGO minifigures. And lastly, all of this actually gave me an idea. I kind of want to see if by the end of the year, I can get 500 non-LEGO clone troopers. I would love to have like a whole legion of them, and I'll probably get Clone Army custom helmets for them. But as always, this is definitely going to be an ongoing conversation, so I would love to know your thoughts and your opinions, so please put them in the comments down below. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them down there as well, or check out my Discord where there is a channel that you can ask me anything, and I'm pretty good at answering on there. You can always message me on Instagram as well. I try to respond to as many people as I can, and I would really appreciate it if you went ahead and hit that like button and subscribed. Or if you want to support me further, you can check me out on Patreon, where you can join all these wonderful people on screen and get shoutouts like Jonathan. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.